Underground Comix just happened to be here doing work in the Second City comedy venue. Very unknown actor at the time. Basically just doing kind of like I think it was almost like a student study class basically at Second City. But Kurtzman somehow found him, and basically, I didn't know this, but yeah, because of Help magazine, basically helped part of the establishment of Monty Python. And Help didn't last very long, and especially because in 1962 they got in a little bit of legal trouble, and that was from a little comic you may have heard of, Archie Comics. They weren't too pleased with the gag parody little comic that they ran in Help magazine in 1962 called Goodman Goes Playboy. Goodman was an established strip and comic that Help magazine had ran for a little while. It was a little parody of Archie. Didn't really get the attention of Archie Comics until this issue came out, though. And it was a parody of Archie, well, the character that's kind of a parody of Archie, going to the Playboy Mansion and getting into various situations that you would not normally see Archie get into. And that definitely drew the attention, though, of Archie Comics, and they said, no, we're not going to allow that. They take Kurtzman to court, and Kurtzman doesn't win, he loses, has to pay a huge settlement fee, and that, unfortunately, basically ends Help magazine. But one positive note is Hugh Hefner gets a whiff of this whole scenario, especially because of the court case. He likes the idea so much that he hires Kurtzman and Will Elder, the artist of Goodwin Goes Playboy, to create their own series that won't disrupt Archie Comics or any other established characters. Create their own character, which would be Little Fanny Annie. And this was ends up being a huge success, and is actually the very first foray for Playboy into any kind of comics or strips in the magazine. Playboy's already got a big following right now at this time, and really it's kind of at its peak popularity. And so this gives a huge, big spotlight, where normally, a lot of people that wouldn't read comics are all of a sudden now exposed to this kind of, especially more adult version of a comic. Then, 2 years later after that, we get what is our very first underground comic, put out by an artist out of Austin, Texas, called Jack Jackson. His art name, his pen name would be Jackson with an X. Yeah, he invents the very first underground comic. And guess what? Nobody notices, nobody knows. That's because there's only 1,000 of these things made, because he does it on the side because he's working at the University of Texas school student newspaper called the Texas Ranger, with a couple other notable artists, which would be, again, Gilbert Shelton, and a couple other people that would go on to be very famous in the underground comics. He self-prints these and collates them, staples them, puts them out all on his own, and sells them. Which, if you have any idea of doing your own comics or zines, that's a lot of work, especially when you're doing 1,000 copies. That's no small task. But he does it in his garage for nothing, throws them out, and basically, nobody even knows about him except for people right in the Austin, Texas area. But that one comic would eventually spawn all kinds of other underground comics. 1966, we get, once we talked about Wally Wood from Mad Magazine, who really pushed the boundaries in Mad Magazine with more explicit content. He would create his own underground magazine at this time. This time, people know this. Wally Wood has got a far bigger budget because he's a very established artist and has stocked away a lot of money from that he made from DC Comics. He's got a huge establishment as a creative, so he's able to get funding to become an actual publisher. And so this time a lot of people noticed. And the good thing is that Hollywood gets a lot of really cool people involved in Wits End. It creates a huge detour for the people that he knows in the industry from working at DC Comics and other established publishers. So what he wants is he wants to take these people, grab them from other established publishers, and says, hey, I'm going to give you free reign. And he creates what's called no policy. No policy means that basically you can just throw anything you want at the wall. If it sticks, you get to print it. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong. There's no